Hello, skate fans. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode number
2
of the GSN Skating News Show. As per usual, I'm Viktor Thorup and
Mitch Whitmore.
Yep, we are here to share the news of skating. We're going to do a recap of Inline World Championships that just finished. We're going to look at the upcoming races on the inlines as well as on the ice. We're going to share some results from the ice as well. There's more transfer news coming in, and then we had some issues with a rink in Norway that we're also going to talk a bit about.
Yeah, to start off, I think we should do our little recap of the inline worlds. First, while we were filming last time, we had said that it was really sad that Jutta didn't get his first world championship gold medal, and it so turns out as soon as we stopped, he won the one lap on the road course. So
well deserved.
Sorry.
So we're happy we jinxed that.
Yes, really, it was an awesome race. I mean, he pulled away from those guys.
He was in a different league, yes.
Yeah, very cool race. We also wanted to talk about Fabriana Arias. She's, I think, up to 20 or 21 world titles now at this point. So she just keeps dominating the long distance races, except she didn't win the marathon. It was a big Colombian sweep.
They took the entire podium, so I think it was more like, who's one down, who should get this one?
Yeah, and on the men's side, Bart Swings got the marathon win, no surprise there, but I was a little surprised that he was dropped for a while with a different pack, but obviously caught up, and maybe it was just all part of the plan.
That was a very exciting race. If you didn't watch the race live, we have the entire race on our YouTube, so go check that out when we're done here.
Yeah, I think we were also going to talk about how, back to Jutta, he was not in the 100. He had two other teammates. Were they both in the final together?
They were the two finalists in that 100-meter race. And I remember thinking before the start, like, how would they not put him in the 100-meter?
Yeah.
And they did.
But then I guess it made sense when they go first and second. And also, he's a big man.
Yeah, Vincenzo Mallorca, he killed that thing. He looks like he's built for that specific 100-meter straight race.
Yes, I think the one lap maybe on the track is going to just throw him into the wall. Yeah. It's like the big guys in Salt Lake City. They're too heavy for the second corner of a 500. You just
they had a race with no corners, so he
swing it on out there.
The women's final wasn't as exciting, I gotta admit here.
Yeah, it was a little strange that they kind of just coasted in. Maybe they were trying to save themselves for the marathon or what, but I would have liked to see those two Colombian women actually race it out.
Yeah, and especially in that one race. I do see you have team tactics, you can have a leader, you can have a co-rider, but in the 100-meter, it's really just the fastest skater should win that thing.
And it was the last one.
Yeah.
So, and I'm assuming that the 100-meter ladies weren't going to be the same as the marathon, but who knows?
You wouldn't expect that.
Also, back to the men's 100. The reigning world champion in the men's 100 was not there, Chevy Guzman, and he actually was injured. I think he had surgery of some sort, but in other news, he is coming to the ice to train with us, I think coming in the next few days. So I'm pretty excited about that.
I'll have a new teammate. You will have a very exciting athlete to coach, I think.
Well, he's a powerhouse. It'll be good for the rest of the team. So yeah. Well, switching over to the ice, we have another team gold addition with Han Mei.
Growing day by day.
Man, that team is going to be pretty stacked.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already stacked.
Yeah.
Now you have another Chinese skater. I wonder what's going on over in China if Ning and Han Mei are...
I would say those are probably the two strongest middle-long distance skaters from China at the moment.
Yeah, so very surprising.
According to the latest social media news, they're all in Japan right now with Coach The Vit training all together.
And also just with Johan and Miho specifically, I just rewatched the Speed Skating podcast with Dan Carney and Miho and Johan. I thought it was really interesting to get their take on how kind of all of that shifted to him leaving.
Yeah.
So another ice news piece, Heather McLean, one of our Canadian skaters, is actually making the comeback, or I think she just took some time off, but it sounds like she's going to be racing back on long track this year.
That will be interesting. She's a World Cup medalist and a pure sprinter from Canada. It'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah, so hopefully back to top competition there.
Staying in Canada.
Yeah.
The skater off the week or off this episode that we're going to dive a little more into is Ivan Blondin.
Yeah, I thought, I mean, for years I've been a fan of the way that she just attacks any race. It seems like if it's a 500 opportunity at a World Cup, 5K, doesn't matter, and everything in between, she's willing to just throw it out there. Yeah. And then now she's doing some bike races in the summer, which I thought was great. And you also said she had some stiff competition.
She, as you can see in this photo here, she ended up on the podium with the Paris-Roubaix winner. I feel like that says a lot.
Yeah, so obviously not too bad on the bike.
Yeah.
And then I also just saw that she's planning to skate the short track nationals, or the short track Canadian trials. And so I just think it's great to see these athletes that are willing to just, you know, throw themselves out there, be vulnerable in different race environments, and just try to compete.
Especially at that age. It's a thing we see often in juniors growing up. You try different sports. But to have the courage to still throw yourself out there in short track, for example,
right,
even though you're an Olympic champion in a different sport, I think that's super cool.
Yeah, really impressive. So that was our skater highlight of the week. We also wanted to talk about the other ice rink issues going on in the world. We saw a video from Hamar.
Yeah, where the Norwegian national team was on a training camp and they had to shut down the rink. And as you can see in this video, I don't think they had much of a choice.
Yeah, it looks like they've got the swimsuits out and are ready to, you know, swim in the melted ice. So very, very strange situation there. And then also in Beijing, I just saw, I think it was Tingyu Gao posted that their rink, it looked like the compressors weren't working, and so it was very foggy.
Let's hope they fix that before we have a World Cup there in 2 to 3 weeks.
Although it would be a pretty cool ambiance, you know, people just skating through the clouds.
Can't tell who's coming first out of the last turn.
Yeah, maybe just some lights at the end of the straightaway, make sure they know where they're going. But yeah.
It isn't as bad if we go a few years back. I remember when they had a meteor shower in Chelyabinsk, and they had to move the European Championships.
That's right.
Because the rink got hit by the meteor.
Wild. I mean, it was that rink is out there. You are in Russia, I tell you. But it was cool. So yeah, hopefully no more ice rink issues in the near future.
Fingers crossed.
We got to talk about the latest pop culture. Jake Paul, Jutta. We haven't covered that just yet.
No.
But obviously a big couple, big relationship in the world of speed skating. But we just saw that Jake Paul was biking in the Netherlands with Jutta, and somebody pretty famous just reposted that.
The Lance Armstrong. So if you wasn't thinking already that the Jutta, Jake Paul collab here, love story would make skating more famous, the fact that we now have Lance Armstrong, the arguably greatest cyclist ever in history, is now retweeting our currently most famous skater.
And I think,
pretty cool for the sport.
I mean, I have been saying it. I think she's been really good for the sport. I mean, some friends of mine that don't know the world of speed skating, you know, have seen her outside of speed skating. I think maybe through Jake Paul or just through social media. And so I think it's great. She's bringing in these new people. So hopefully that and, you know, our channel start to, you know, bring up the world of skating.
Yeah. She's almost bigger than the sport, so if she can expand that sport a little with her, that would be really cool.
I think it'll be awesome. Well, should we move on to the speed skating results of the week?
Yes.
I think we had some good stuff.
We had some races here in Salt Lake City.
I'll start off talking so you don't have to talk about yourself, but Viktor here is first in the 1500 and the 5000 at the moment.
The world season best so far.
Very close to your PB in the 15. That was exciting.
Got exciting. Had to pass a 9-year-old in the final turn. That you don't see that a lot in skating, but it's also one of the cool things that, you know, different levels end up competing because it is a very down-to-earth sport, kind of. I've never had that question before. Going to the starting line, somebody asked me, like, when you pass me or when you lap me, should I go to left or to the right? And I was like, I also don't know.
Just go. I mean, that'll be a cool memory for him down the road. What else do we have?
We have another team skater, Kimberly Goods, also a little co-producer on the channel here. She did not too bad, I would say, as well.
Yes, first in the 500 and the 1500 in the world at the moment. Had an alright 3K as well. No PB, so she'll probably have to do another 3K. But also we had Greta Myers set a nice PB in her 3K and her 1500.
So world's fastest 3K at the moment?
World's fastest 3K. Also had another former Fast Team member, Zach Stoppelmore, at the top of the men's 1,000, and Mia Kilberg at the top of the women's 1,000. A couple other good results from here. What else do we have around the world? We want to talk about a junior B2 skater in Obihiro, Kaide Kojima.
With a 119.8 in the 1,000 meter.
A nice little personal best
for a
to
junior
start off the
B2.
season.
Yeah.
So she's
We have some youth Olympics coming up, so you would expect there's a lot of junior skaters aiming for that very specific race.
Yes, I think that'll be really cool. And that's Youth Olympics this year is going to be in Korea. So that'll be something to watch out for. We also had Sofia Thorup Prosperova.
The first national record of the season goes to Denmark.
And with two of them, right?
Yeah, double.
Two national records.
Despite a slip in the 500 meters, she beat the national record by a second and a half.
Nice. She stayed upright. That was
Yeah.
the main goal on that one. And then I think moving on towards our trivia question of the week, something we want to incorporate going forward is one trivia question each week, and I think we're going to attach some prizes to these. One of our comments in the section below. Our first question is going to be, who is the holder of the women's Adels calendar? I'm sure you could Google it as well. Let's see if you know off the top of your head.
If you don't know what the Adels calendar is, that is part of the question to figure that out.
Yes, we talked about it in our last episode, so if you don't know, go check that one out and get edumacated.
Yes.
Okay, we had some comments from the last couple shows we did.
And again, this is a thing we're going to do in the future. We're going to go through the comments we get here in the channel, so if you have questions or anything you would want to share with us, leave it in the comment section and we might bring it up in the coming episodes. We're also trying to implement a little section called the fan clip of the episode. So if you have anything with cool skating or anything that you think that other people would find fun or inspirational, share it with us, send it to us, reach out, and we will also bring that up on the next episode.
And that goes for any kind of content that your club or you personally are doing. Send us anything and we'd love to post it on Instagram, YouTube, whatever, and get your name out there just as much as ours.
Global Skating Network.
Yes.
The comment of this episode.
Will inlines ever make it into the Olympics? What do you think?
With my heart, I would say yes. I do also know that this was a topic 20 years ago when I got into inline skating, and we were really hoping for it. It's been part of the World Games, which usually can be a segue into the Olympics, where they test out sports. It's been at the Youth Olympics once or twice, I think, also just to test it out. But I mean, it hasn't happened yet, and I fear that other sports are growing faster. Even though skating is available, inline skating is available to so many countries, there is an equal amount of men and women doing it. So there's a lot of things in favor of skating, but just if we look at the sports that just got implemented, skateboarding and rock climbing are just massive sports. They have a whole different level of, branding exposure. Even though we try our best here, we have to catch up on that.
Yes, we need more people to grow the sport the best that we can. But yeah, it's a tough one. I've also heard that it's kind of a package deal with maybe the figure, or I don't know if roller derby's part of that, but I think there's other sports attached to
the slalom,
and so it makes it kind of tough for just speed inlines to make it in. But I mean, it's a huge sport, so hopefully someday we can get it in there. Upcoming competitions we should talk about. Victor here is going to the North Shore Marathon in Duluth, Minnesota.
The biggest marathon in the United States, second biggest marathon in the whole world.
I know there's over 2,000 people already signed up for it, which is pretty wild.
I am wishing for a big tailwind. If you win that race, you get a $10,000 bounty. I think that's the biggest I've heard of.
Chad Hedrick still holds the record
still
there?
Still holds it, yeah.
Wow, I'm like 84. Really tiny wheels.
That is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time for that to go.
And we also have the Berlin Marathon the following weekend. Again, we're going to try to live stream both of these if we can. But that'll be a big one to watch. That's, I think, 6,000 plus skaters do that one.
It's incredibly big. Yeah. We do have one very big favorite, especially after watching the World Championships. Bart Swinks is, he's going to be going for the course record and the world record. And if he does that, I believe he has a good chance.
Yeah, do you think, I guess at the Olympics we saw he had the target on his back, and he still was able to come away with the gold medal. Do you think the same thing happens on inlines, and he's just that dominant, or can they find a way to kind of break through there?
I honestly think he's going to be just dominating that thing.
Yeah.
And on top of being probably the best skater out there, he also has what I think is the best team. So it's going to be very, very difficult.
Yeah,
to...
Suttles was really strong, actually. That was.
And they went first and second.
Yeah. I didn't even realize that he had teammates before.
Yeah.
Man, Suttles is a name of his own. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a really good skater there.
So watch out for that. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel, because we are going to be doing our best to live stream as many of these racing, skating events, inline and ice, throughout the whole season.
Trying to get as much overall skating content as we can from short track as well.
Yeah.
And we just a couple days ago we posted our top 10 long track males, best of all time there. And we may have an inline list coming out soon, and then a little bit after that we'll have the women's list coming out too. And then we're gonna hit short track. So a lot of stuff coming out.
Yep. If there's anything you feel like we missed, let us know. We try and cover as much as we can, but maybe we didn't catch it all. So let us know.
Yep. Well, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.